Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am your sister Naomi, and we are fasting day 4, juice 5, and I am finishing up my surah. And just wanted to share a little bit. Inshallah, this can be 5-10 minutes. So juice 5 is it's. Please forgive me if my words are all over the place because I'm fasting. So Juice 5 is chapter Anisa, verse 24, and it goes all the way to verse 142. And I wanted to go back a little bit. Let's see if I have it on this page. So the previous Juice leaves off talking about the women, that are like people who you're forbidden from marrying. And it also literally talks about not treating women with injustice. For example, the dowry. You can't take the dowry back. Of course, there are exceptions, but you cannot take your dowry back. You can't take from it. So if you want to give, if there's an agreed upon dowry of, let's say, $5,000, and you get married, you give it to your wife, you can't then say, well, you got that money, you got that 5,000. Now that's hers. It doesn't exist as far as the husband is concerned. Now if she wants to share it with you or not, whatever, it is a woman's prerogative, but the man cannot ask, or say her family members or something like that. That dowry belongs to her and only her. And it also talks about that women should not be treated as part of his as cannot be treated as part of his an estate, cannot be treated like property. And I kind of mentioned this before. Believe it or not, this is in the Old Testament. This is biblical. Um, you can be and you can women can be given as inheritance as far as the old law, as far as the Torah goes. And it's so crazy because even like children, so not to get into it too much, but if you, as far as the Old Testament, if a wife passes away and she hasn't had any children, then she must marry the closest of kin to the husband. And if that's not bad enough, if that's not bad enough, um, if she has a child, then the child is considered the dead man, not the it is. And so again, the Quran is correcting, and the Quran is giving rights to all people, to women, to orphans, to men, telling us how to deal with each other when it comes to businesses. And so we have oops, I dropped my paper, so I'll just look at my little thing here. So we also have in tonight's juice, it goes into more depths later on, but it talks about the laws of inheritance, that you have to give what you promised. It talks about the men being the overseers of women, and that can be considered controversial because it says that men have a degree that's a little higher, and I take that as the responsibility. So when women are given things, when women are given inheritance, it belongs to them and only them. But when men are giving things, it's not just them. Whatever comes to the husband, he has to share with his family, be it his mother, be it his siblings, sisters, be it his children, his wife. And so because the men are the overseers and the maintainers and the providers in that aspect, they are, that is what is considered to be, at least in my eyes, that degree. To whom much is given, much is expected. And this goes over that. It also goes over how to deal with disputes within marriage. So it has therapy in here. Here in this juice is where the prohibition of alcohol is given. And I wish my paper fell, and I don't want to go pick it up in this camera, go crazy. But this juice reminds me of just the justice. This reminds me of how to deal with each other. And I love how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Quran, He is not giving us this flowery impression that, welcome to Islam, welcome to the Quran, and your life is going to be perfect. You guys are going to hold hands, you're going to skip. No, you're going to disagree. You're going to misunderstand one another. There's going to be miscommunications. And this is how you are to deal with it. This is how you are to deal with each other. This is how you either make it right and you solve a problem, or you part in peace. And ultimately fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Always remember that it is Him that we are to be conscious of in regards to, are we treating, you know are we being just? Are we taking advantage? Are we taking advantage because we have power over somebody? If I have an orphan, if I can do whatever. Am I just taking advantage as if God doesn't see me? As because a lot of people, they act like that. They act like, as I always feel that way whenever I hear of somebody really cold hearted, and I'm like, they must be atheists. Like, surely. Um, and so, inshallah, this is just another reminder to get into the juice. If you can't read the whole thing, at least part of it. And I highlighted this from a previous Ramadan, where and this is like when we're still in chapter 4, verse 116 and 121, and it says that the shaitan, this is verse 120, it says the shaitan makes promises to stir up in them false desires, but Shaitan's promises are nothing but deception, and it's called an aside promise of Shaitan to create false desires. And I'm not sure why I highlighted it then, but now it just reminds me of, like, again, why we are not supposed to follow our desires, because some of them are false, some of them are influenced by others, some of them aren't genuinely our own. So may Allah Subhanahu wa Taala protect us and protect us from this, from the promises that the shaitan stirs up within us and within others that influence us, and the fake promises that are nothing but deception, right? All right, inshallah ta'ala, you guys are having a great Ramadan. It is only the fourth day, alhamdulillah, and it's gonna go by fast. So get the most out of it. Jump in if you haven't gotten in like you really wanted to. It's never too late. Get in, jump into the juice, jump into fasting, jump into the salat, jump into the du'as, jump into the dhikr, jump into getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His Quran and through His many, many ways of ibadah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.